Hello everybody, afternoon. I was a bit late today, been doing a bit of prep for you. Gonna have a little bit more of a full-on class today, I reckon. I've neglected you the last couple of days because I've been busy doing my cupboard. I've been running off and cupboarding. It's lovely down here again, can you tell? Tweety birds, I'm just listening to them. Thomas in his bed fast asleep here, I don't know if you can see him or not. Right, okay, so today, triangles. These can be scary or not, whatever you want to make them. It's like I keep saying, you can do it. Of course you can do it. It's all good. So we're gonna do just a whole stack of triangles and put them all together. I don't know if you can see that area there. I've gone through me stuff here, and I've just cut loads of triangles. Some of them are 2, some of them are 1s, all odd, whatever. Put them wherever I fancied them, and we're going to play. Okay, so what I want to do first is say, okay, templates. Can you see that? Right. If you're hand doing, you just need a template and to draw around it and cut your fabric. Draw around it on the back, and then cut your fabric with your 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right. So basically, in order to get it nicely square, 3-inch square is what we're working on. Cut in half. Okay, so you would draw around that, add your seam allowance, cut him out, do, all ready to stitch. Lovely. If you're machining, there's this big thing about half square triangles. Ooh. I'm not going to poo-poo it because it is absolutely excellent if you're doing masses and you're in mass production. And that's basically where you cut squares, 2 squares of the same size, put them face together, and then you would machine 2 lines down the centre and then cut up the centre of the 2 of them, and then they open out into a square, half and half triangles. Lovely. But actually that's not what I want us to do today. We're doing old-fashioned random going on here, so therefore we don't necessarily want to do it in that manner for machine. Okay, so if you're trying to work out what size do I need to cut my triangle, okay, for machining people, what I do, I don't know if you can see this one here, I do my 3-inch square, cut it in half, and then I add my 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around it. Okay, now you're adding 1/4 inch, you think, yeah, no, that's fine, so we've got 3 inches there, yeah, that's probably going to be 3.5. No, it's not. Triangles are weird. That outside edge now becomes 4 inches. It's really weird, but it's how it works because of your seam allowance in the centre, because you need double seam allowances for a square. So what would be a 3, you need to cut a 4 outside edge. All right, it's a bit weird. So if you wanted to the same fabric, by all means cut a 4-inch square and cut that in half, and you'll get your 2. All right, because our placement, I don't want anything the same next to each other. Okay, so that's how I do. So that would work in effect for any triangle shape you want to do. Draw your basic, what do I want it finished at, so my 3-inch, add your 1/4 inch. All right, you get sticky out bits going on, but you need sticky out bits for a minute whilst you're drawing, because that will make life easier for you. All right, so that's my template, so by hand or by machine, if that's what you want to do. But actually I know that I can cut my 4-inch now and chop him across, so that's all good. All right, so I hope that's a bit of help. You could do whatever other size you need, that's fine, but I'm going for 3-inch finished little squares, if you see what I mean, because we're into our 12-inch blocks. So 3, 6, 9, that would be 12-inch with its seam allowance of 12.5, and the same the other way. So what do we need? We need 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 24, 32 triangles we're going to do. All right, now before you start and cut everything out, if your fabric is going to need a bit of an iron it first. Okay, have it to hand. What you don't want to do is have to iron your triangle after you've cut it, because you're cutting things or fabric on a bias, it can stretch and distort. Okay, so if you've cut that, oh yeah, no, oh, that's a bit creased, I need to do the sheer movement and pressing can distort this edge here, which has been cut across, and it will stretch. All right, you don't want to do that. Okay, so a little bit of ironing beforehand if it needs it, and then cut your triangles. Okay, the whole thing with them is handle them as least as you possibly can. Don't pull at them, don't stretch at them. Even when you're putting them together in order to sew, be gentle with them. Don't hang on to it as it's going through the machine. Don't shovel it through the machine. Let the machine just walk it through gently. That's what you feed dogs for, your teeth. It'll just gently take it through. All you're doing is guiding things. You're never hanging on to or pushing, all right? Remember that one. So that's your triangles cut and your joining. When you're joining, take your time. They're not difficult, really. And I don't know if you can see this, so it would be a triangle to a triangle for a square, triangle to a triangle for a square, and then join a square to a square, and work it in strips. Okay, and when you get into put strips to strips, pin them from the center, get your seams all nicely nested. And if you get to a point where you've got lots, or like there's one here, there's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 central pieces in that particular layout, and that's going to be quite a bit. Try and get all your seams going in the same direction with your tufty bits at the ends, because then that'll lay flatter, and you can trim them after a little bit. Okay, all right, so triangle to triangle for a square, same again, square to a square, do, strip to a strip, same again, strip, same again, strip, until you get your square and you've built up your square. Nothing to be afraid of. The thing is don't pull it, don't stretch it. All right, if you're a little bit worried, a little bit of spray starch, that's always good with triangles. That stops it spreading quite so much and gives it a little bit more solidness as you're doing things. Okay, now what I've actually cut fabric wise, I found, what was the one that we did the other day? I'd done a sample one for one of these, yeah, when I was busy doing for you the other day, and I found that one in my stash. So actually I've picked that out and I've chopped him into 2 triangles, so I'm going to include that because that's my tie colours. That's quite handy. All right, so then I've done a couple more tie colours, and then just all random everything, and not all in the same direction. Some of them are going one way, some are going the other way. No particular reason for it, just all nicely messed up. Okay, what you could do, I found this one as well, because remember, I think it was block number 2, where we chopped up and we had several. Now, what you could do, which might be nice, is cut this down to a 6.5, and you could have that in the middle, couldn't you? And then you could have your triangles going around it. That would be good. In which case, you're going to be joining do for a strip. Then you're going to join 2 to 2 here, that will join onto the square. 2 to 2 here and onto the square, and then you can join the strip to the strip. All right. Always, as I've said before, machine or stitch in straight lines. Try not ever to have to go around the corner, because that just makes life awkward, and it allows for things going a bit wrong. All right, so straight line, so building blocks. So we've got a straight line there, we'd have that, a double onto the middle, double onto the middle of the other end, and then the other strip to the edge. All right, so that might use up one of yours. Unfortunately, I didn't find that until I'd already cut this lot. Because had I found that, I probably wouldn't have cut all of that lot, because this would have been much quicker. But there we are, ho-hum. All right. So, templates, cutting, comes down to accuracy. I'm going to keep saying this word at you. My ladies love me in class when I'm going, accuracy. All right, it's hugely important. Now, if you're cutting for machine, it's the cuts, because you're just going to put them together and put them through. So that's got to be spot on. If you're doing it by hand, do you remember? We were drawing around your template on the back of your fabric, and then we put them right sides together, and then we pin and we stitch up the line. So your lines that you draw around your template are hugely important. Okay, so accuracy of your lines. Okay, just going to pop that one back there. Okay, so when this has all been put together, I threatened you yesterday with circles again, didn't I? Because I'm very aware that we've only got one circle in the whole quilt, in amongst all them lovely squares. And so I thought, well, that could be quite good. We could have triangles with a circle on. That would be lovely, I reckon. I have been kind, because these were 2-inch squares, weren't they? You could have had 2-inch triangles, but I've not. I've been good girl. I'll put you 3 inches, make them a little bit bigger, a bit easier for you. I'm all for having fun, but at the same time, I don't want to put everybody off. If you feel that this is going to be too much for you, just make your triangles bigger, whatever suits you. All right, it's your quilt, your design, your layout of colour. I have done completely random, as I say. I like random, and I know that actually random's quite difficult for a lot of people to cope with. So if you're one of these ladies or gents out there that love everything very regimented, do me the favour of trying to just do them a bit random and a bit odd, something a little bit out of your comfort zone. If you're a completely random person like me, maybe you want to go the other way and get something very regimented. Totally up to you. Now, I mentioned circles for a very good reason, because I figured that, I was saying here, you might have 4, 5, 6 or 8 even joins in the centre of different points, okay? And they can be quite worrying, yeah? Not when you've got circles, because you can just plonk a circle right over the top of the mess if it's not very good. See, added embellishment, design developments, we like these a lot. So I've actually prepped myself up. I'm going to have 3 circles. I don't know if you can see, I've drawn 2 smaller ones there and a big one here. And I've used the same colour fabric, same fabric that I did with that one there, because I figure that will tie those 2 blocks together quite nicely. And I think they could look quite good. So again, I'm just going to go back over how I do my circles. All right, so if you've got some Bonder web, fabulous, go for it. Draw your circle on the back of your Bonder web, which is the smooth side. Okay, rough cut it out, iron it onto the back of your fabric, okay, and then cut it out on the line exactly. Okay, so originally you rough cut it a little bit bigger, so 1/4 inch bigger or something like that. Iron it onto the back of your fabric, cut it on the line, and that will give you a really, really good edge. Okay, and when you've done that, you need to take the paper off. So I usually get a pair of scissors and then just score down the centre of the paper, which will allow me to rip it off from the middle of the back. All right, it saves you fiddling around with the edges and then roughing up the edges and it not looking very good. Okay, so excuse me. So then you've got your circle, your Bonder web. Slap it where you want it. Give it a real good iron, nicely hot. All right, and then you're going to stitch by hand or machine around it just to keep it in place and stop those edges and anything going anywhere. All right, so that's if you can do it Bonder web. I'm going to do mine today over card, because I did the other one like that. I want them to match. Okay, I am a fan of Bonder web, but I am doing these on over card this time. So as I said before, I've cut my circle of card, okay, and then as if you were going to do hexagons or tumbling blocks, something like that, so English paper piecing, I'm just going to tack my fabric around my card. Okay, so I've used a white thread, so hopefully you can see that coming on. And how I do that, I poke the card and the fabric under my nail, which holds that nicely taut. I then grab that with the other thumb and I tack it into place. All right, and then I do it again, and it causes little pleats. Can you see there's a little pleat going on there? Hopefully you can. So it causes you little pleats all the way around, but that's going to give you a really smooth, nice circular edge, okay, which is what we really, really want. So I would carry on doing that all the way around, under the nail, hold it, grab it, do it. So you can see that actually you've got quite a good edge coming on there. Now, when that's ready, I've put this all together. I've decided which bit I don't like the look of that I'm going to cover up. I've tacked that all around, and then I'm going to place it on the top, and then I'm going to stitch that into place with a blind hem. So I'm coming up from underneath and coming out in the edge of the circle. I don't know if you can see that on top of here. So you're coming up on the edge, and then when I do my next stitch, I then go back down to wherever I came out on the edge, fractionally under it, underneath the card, and come back up at the next angle. So we're going under and back up away from yourself. That way, hopefully the stitch disappears underneath the fabric and you don't see it. So you get a really good circle, which, like this one, hopefully you can't see any stitches around the outside edge of that. It's just a nice circle of fabric. Okay, so as you're doing that, you go all the way around and you get to about an inch or so before the end of your circle. All right, so at that point, take your tacking out, pull the card out from underneath, and then just carry on finishing stitching off that you can't see anything nice, and you should have that lovely circle and it'll be nicely soft and flexible. Okay, if in doubt when you're doing this, once you've done your tacking around, you can always give it a quick iron on that edge there, which will keep that nice and crisp. All right, so that's how I'm going to do mine. I think I did say the other day as well, another way you could do it is do a running stitch all the way around the outside edge of your circle, and then get your circle of card, pop it into the centre, and then gently draw up the two ends so as it folds around the card. All right, then tie that one off nice and tight, give it an iron into place, and you'll get a similar sort of effect as that one. Okay, and then you repeat the process. You stitch it on and then slip him out. So there's a couple of different ways of doing that for you. All right, or you could use freezer paper. That's yet another way. Freezer paper is what the Americans would use for wrapping their food in the freezer. It's sort of like greaseproof on one side and it's got like a plastic film on the other. And if you draw on the greaseproofy side, the paper side, and then would cut out a circle exactly, if you then put the plasticky side on the back of your fabric and iron it, it sticks there just long enough for you to do your tacking stitch around it, join it all on, and then you can pull it out again. So that's quite good if you've got any freezer paper. But if you've not got freezer paper, I just use old card, whatever I've got, as I say, sort of birthday card. It's a little bit more so than a photocopy paper or printer paper. Having said that, if that's all you've got, use it. You know, who am I to say? It's all good. So your task for today is quite a full-on one. Okay, that should keep you busy today, tomorrow, I would think. So we're loads of triangles, all laid out randomly. Okay, if you're a neat person, I say a neat person, organised, got to be. Random it for me, all random colours and fabrics and patterns. Okay, and then put your circle or circles. As I say, I'm going to have 3, 1 large and 2 smaller. They could well be strategically placed to cover up anything I don't particularly love a lot. You could use your 1 square that you've already got made. I'd cut that down to 6.5, so that'll include your seam allowance, and then put your triangles around the outside edge. Now I think that could look quite nice. Or what you could do is put a tiny border on that and make that one up to 9.5, and then just have triangles 1 lot all the way around. That would work as well, wouldn't it? Don't forget your circles though. The idea of the circles, apart from covering up any mess we don't want to look at, is to break up all this angular that's going on in our quilt. We've got 1 circle, we've got, as I say, the gardeny curves. They're good in the garden block and in the house block, but there's not a lot of curves going on. So this is a way of putting some curves in without frightening you, without actually having to join curves and stuff like that, because that can be majorly scary. All right, so there we are. That's today's, and I think that's going to be block 15, I believe. Says she. I can't even remember what we did last. What did we do last? Oh, yeah, that's right. We did that one, didn't we? So we had a bit of colour placement going on there. So we've got a green. Really, it's just showing you how different things can be. It's what I was wittering on about yesterday. All right, so there's the 2 blocks, both the same, look completely different. All right, so a bit more homework today because I'm good like that. Right, there we are. So what else do we have to say? Photos. Some absolutely fabulous stuff coming onto the Patchwork Wittering Facebook group. Thank you. some lovely different colours going on. Got all manner of shirt stuff on there this morning, totally different colour scheme going on, lovely. And actually you're all coming in now, and I've said this a couple of times, from all over the world, which is fabulous. And it's just lovely to have you all with us. Okay, do ask any questions you might need in that group, or message me on my Facebook page. That's all good. I've had several different things that I've helped people with, which is lovely, including a machine that was playing up. Didn't know what to do, so we had a new needle and some different thread, and now it's fabulous again apparently. So, you know, whatever I can help with, if I can, I will help. Okay, please don't forget that. We're all very insular at the minute, obviously, and if I can make your life a little bit easier and happier, then I will do so. So that leads me to my usual 3 things of the day. A little bit of exercise around the garden, around the workshop, up and down the hallway, whatever. What about that lovely old gent? He's raised over 3 million for the NHS now. I just can't get that. He's in his 100. Fabulous gent, absolutely fabulous. How good's that? He wanted to, I think he wanted to raise £1,000, and he's raised over 3 million. I can't get my head around that. What an inspiration to all of us. I think he's fabulous. So there we go. Whatever we can do, little bit of exercise, up and down your stairs, up and down the, you know, the back step, whatever you've got. Okay. And do come away from your sewing machine for a bit, because I know there's several of you out there full on doing lots of stuff for all sorts of things, be it our quilts, our UFOs, or maybe for the NHS scrubs and bags and all sorts of things. Take breaks. It's good for you in the long run, all right? And turn your machine off. Let that cool off. Don't burn out your bulbs and things like that, all right? So, and then there's the tidy bit, isn't there? And I can speak very loudly about that today, because I did the whole of the stock area and the toilet bathroom area, which is humongous, great store cupboard as well. The whole lot came out yesterday. Every single little thing. It's never been so clean, even when it was built. And everything's been rearranged, and it's all nicely tidy and clean and usable, which is brilliant. And all of those waddings are no longer on the floor. They've all now got homes, which I knew they would have. It was just a little bit of a, got to move this one to move that one to move, chain reaction in order to get that all tidy. So that's gone. I've got carpet, which I've actually vacuumed. Unheard of. And this table's going to get moved a little bit over in a minute. Well, when he's woken up, because we don't want to wake up to Thomas, because he's too good, isn't he? I just love him. He's nine. He comes in and he sleeps with me, and he has company all day. Doesn't talk to me an awful lot, has a little bit of fuss, a couple of little cheeks, and then sleeps, and then takes off again. So I just think he's fabulous. Probably got half a dozen homes up here, I think, in truth. He's got several homes, I'm sure. But there we are. And so we've got clear blue sky, apparently not going to be as good tomorrow, so we'll make the most of that today, ladies and gents. And have a happy stitchery. All right, so go out there, do your stuff, talk to friends, and be lovely.